Some things you shouldn't look for, but once you do, you can't stop. This is LurmoStories, where we bring you stories you never wanted to find, but will never be able to forget. Let's see what's waiting for you this time. I wasn't even planning to post this, because it sounds like one of those urban legend things people pretend happened to a friend of a friend. But this happened to someone I've known since middle school, Mark, and the cops still won't give his parents a straight answer. The whole thing started behind this half-dead strip mall off Highway 14. You know the type. 3 stores still open out of 20, flickering signs, dumpsters that reek like a body has been decomposing inside one for months. Mark used to get picked up there after closing shifts at the frozen yogurt place. His car was in the shop, so his brother usually grabbed him at 11:30. Except that night, his brother was stuck 2 towns over. Mark texted me that he'd probably just call an Uber. Nothing weird. But around 11:50, he messaged again. Guy says he's already here. Didn't even request him. Apps glitching? The screenshot he sent showed no active ride, just a black sedan icon sitting in the lot. He said the driver rolled down his window, called his name, his real name, and said, "Hop in, man, I already know where we're going." Mark told me the guy sounded casual, like they knew each other. And Mark, he's too trusting for his own good. He told me he got this weird deja vu, like maybe he had taken a ride with this guy before. It didn't make sense, but he walked over anyway. At 12:03 a.m., he texted, "Dude, what TF? I'm in the car and it doesn't smell right." Followed by, "Just chemicals." Like a garage. I tried calling him, straight to voicemail. Here's where it gets worse. The security camera behind the strip mall doesn't show the sedan arriving. It just appears in one frame that wasn't there the frame before. Not like teleporting, more like the feed skipped, except the timestamp didn't jump. It keeps running normally, and suddenly the car is there. Mark walks up, hesitates, opens the back door, and gets in. The sedan pulls out, no rush, no swerving, just smooth and quiet, like a normal ride. No plates, literally none, not even a temp tag. The cop said maybe the angle just made it unreadable, but I've stared at the footage. There's nothing there. He wasn't seen again that night. His last text was at 12:14. He keeps saying I've done this before. And then, "Do you still live at the same address?" I wrote back instantly, "Don't answer him." Message delivered. Never read. The next morning, the yogurt shop found Mark's work apron folded on the counter. Problem is, he wasn't carrying it when he left. The cops treated the whole thing like a runaway case at first. They always do. Young adult, stressful job, probably took off on his own. But Mark wasn't that type. And there was something else, something his mom told me 2 days later, when she finally broke down and called. At 4:27 a.m. the night he vanished, someone tried to unlock their back door. Not bang on it, not break in, just unlock it. She heard the deadbolt turning, slow and careful, like whoever was doing it wanted to avoid making noise. She thought it was Mark at first, until she realized she'd never heard his car pull in. She called out his name, but the turning didn't stop. It only stopped when she flipped on the porch light. By the time his dad opened the door, there was nobody in the yard. They checked the camera later. It wasn't Mark. The footage showed a man standing completely still beside the door, his shoulders angled away from the camera. He wasn't trying to hide his face. He just never once looked up. He held a single key between his fingers and kept testing it in the lock like he was positive it should fit. And he was driving a black sedan, same shape as the one from the strip mall. He parked it in the alley with the lights off. The police froze that frame and zoomed in as much as they could. Here's the thing that stuck with me. The man's posture was relaxed, not hurried, not nervous, like he expected to be there, like he'd done it before. Somewhere between all this, Mark's brother checked his phone records and noticed a call placed at 12:32 a.m. Outgoing, from Mark's number. It lasted 12 seconds. The only audio on the voicemail was a car engine idling and a man's voice saying, quietly, "You missed a turn." Not angry, not confused, just disappointed. The phone pinged one last tower at 12:41, near an industrial area behind a trucking depot. I drove out there the same day because the cops didn't seem in a hurry. The whole place smelled like wet cardboard and diesel. Rows of semi-trailers, half of them abandoned. Warehouses with metal siding peeling off like old sunburn. I found fresh tire tracks behind one of the loading docks. Smooth, clean arcs, like a car had backed in recently. On the concrete wall, someone had written something in dark marker. Not graffiti, just neat block letters, the kind Mark always used when he labeled stuff at work. I thought he knew the way. There wasn't anything else. No sign of him, no sign of whoever wrote that. When I brought it to the cops, they told me the message looked self-inflicted, their words, like Mark wrote it during a breakdown. But Mark doesn't have handwriting like that. His block letters always leaned slightly left. These were dead straight. Later that night, I got a text from an unknown number. You should stop looking for him. It came with a photo, a blurry shot of the pickup spot behind the strip mall. Empty, except for one thing. A black sedan parked exactly where Mark had gotten in. The timestamp was from 10 minutes earlier. I didn't go to the police about the text. They'd already decided I was emotionally involved and misinterpreting evidence. So I went back to the strip mall myself. Not smart, I know, but I couldn't just sit around. It was a little after midnight when I got there. The whole place looked abandoned, even though a nail salon was still open. The neon "open" sign flickered like it was gasping for electricity. The parking lot was empty except for a few scattered carts from the closed supermarket. Then I saw it, the same black sedan parked in the corner space near the dumpsters. No plates, no stickers, nothing reflective. The windows were so tinted they looked painted. I stayed far enough away not to spook whoever was inside. I took a photo. Before I could check if it saved, the passenger door opened a crack. A man's voice called out, "You're here early." I didn't answer. I couldn't even tell if he was talking to me. The voice wasn't loud, more like he was speaking to someone already in the car. I took one step back, and that was enough. The passenger door shut without a slam, just this soft, deliberate click. The sedan pulled out, smooth and silent, and rolled toward the exit. When it passed under the single working streetlight, I finally saw the driver's face through the windshield. It wasn't anyone I recognized, but he looked familiar in a way I can't explain. Like someone I'd passed 100 times without noticing. Bland, average, forgettable. The kind of face you stop registering the second you look away. He didn't glance at me, didn't react at all, just drove off like he was following a route he'd practiced 1,000 times. I thought that was it. I thought I'd just watched the guy who took my friend leave forever. But 20 minutes later, when I got back home, there was something waiting for me. A rideshare receipt. Sent to my email. Trip completed, 12:54 a.m. Pickup behind 14th Street Strip Mall. Drop off, my home address. Cost, $0.00. There was no driver photo, no rating, no license number, just the same line repeated 3 times under notes from driver. He said you'd be next. My doorbell rang at 1:02 a.m. Not a frantic pounding, just a single press. Like whoever was out there didn't care whether I answered or not. I checked the people. The porch was empty. No footsteps on the snow-dusted walkway. No car pulling away. Nothing. But when I opened the door, there was an object sitting on the welcome mat. Mark's work apron. Folded the same way the manager found it 2 weeks earlier. Inside the front pocket was a key. Plain, silver, unmarked. And on the fabric, written in the same straight block letters from the warehouse wall, was a short message. You should have gotten in when he asked. That's the last thing I'm posting. I haven't slept at home since. I keep the lights on in every place I stay, but sometimes, usually around midnight, I hear a car engine idling somewhere nearby. Not loud, just steady, patient. Like someone waiting for a rider they were told to pick up. Like they're sure they'll see me again. And the worst part is, every time I hear it, I swear the sound feels familiar. The only reason I'm posting this is because I don't know what else to do. Nothing about that night makes sense unless you've lived on a quiet American block where everyone minds their own business and the streetlights buzz louder than the neighbors talk. I've gotten used to being alone on Thursdays. My ex kept our dog, my friends worked nights, and the block basically shut down after 9 p.m. My routine was boring but predictable. Gym from 7 to 8, groceries, shower, late night TV until I passed out on the couch. I never thought about who might be watching it happen over and over. The first thing that felt wrong was the upstairs light across the street. The house had been empty for months, yet the bedroom window had a soft amber glow I hadn't seen before. No movement, no shadows, just a light that shouldn't have been there. I stared at it while unlocking my door, but eventually shrugged it off. It didn't feel threatening. Not yet. Around 11:40, I heard tires on wet asphalt. Slow, controlled, like someone easing their car to match the length of my house. I muted the TV and listened. My street doesn't get traffic at night. Dead end, no turnarounds. When the engine cut, the silence felt heavy, as if the house itself was holding its breath with me. I looked through the peephole. Nothing. No headlights bleeding onto the porch, no silhouette, no movement. But I knew a car had stopped. You get used to certain sounds, and that one didn't belong. I told myself I was being paranoid, went back to the couch, tried to focus on the show, and that's when the back gate clicked. Soft, deliberate metal on metal. A careful hand lifting the latch instead of letting it slap back. My backyard is fenced, but not locked. Anyone could walk in if they wanted to. My first thought was raccoons, but raccoons don't close the latch behind them. I turned off every light except the hallway lamp and listened. Steps on the grass. One, then another. Each one spaced like someone testing the ground before shifting their weight. The motion sensor by the shed stayed dark. Whoever was out there knew where it was. I grabbed the kitchen knife, not because I planned to use it, but because empty hands felt worse. My pulse climbed so fast I could hear it in my ears. Then there was a voice. Low, masculine, too close to the back door. "You're early." Not said to me, said to someone else. Someone already inside my yard. I didn't move. I didn't even shift my weight. The voice was right outside the back door, close enough that if he breathed, the condensation would have shown on the glass. I waited for another voice to answer, but there was nothing. Just that low hum of the refrigerator and the faint tap of branches in the neighbor's yard. Footsteps, 2 sets now. One heavier, one lighter. Both deliberate. The heavier steps stopped near the door. The lighter ones drifted along the siding, slow, almost measuring the length of the house. I held the knife tighter, without meaning to. My hand was shaking hard enough that the blade faintly clicked against the counter. A whisper. "Window first." Not a suggestion, an instruction. I backed away from the kitchen, staying low, keeping to the wall. My mind scrambled for explanations. Break-in, wrong house, something drug-related, but none fit. This wasn't frantic or rushed. They weren't trying to smash anything. They moved like people who had rehearsed this, people who expected the place to be empty. And suddenly, my whole routine snapped into place in the worst possible way. Every Thursday, alone. Every Thursday, lights off by midnight. Every Thursday, no visitors, no interruptions. Anyone who paid attention long enough would know I was predictable. Too predictable. The sliding window above the sink gave a tiny sound. Not glass, the latch. The softest metallic shift, like someone testing whether I'd remembered to lock it. I had. Then the lighter voice. He didn't close the curtain. I didn't breathe. My kitchen window faced the driveway. Anyone standing there would have a direct line of sight inside if they leaned close enough. My phone was on the coffee table. Too far. Calling anyone meant standing up, moving into view. I tried to think. Front door? Back bedroom? But every option meant sound, and sound meant they'd know exactly where I was. The heavier voice spoke again, firmer this time. "Go around, check the front." "I'll stay here." I heard one set of steps peel away, moving along the yard, through the side gravel, then onto the front walkway. Slow. Listening. The other stayed planted by the back door. I could picture him, stocky maybe, leaning in, head tilted to hear whether anyone inside shifted. I crouched, inching toward the hallway. The air felt thick, like the house itself was trying to mute me. Then came a soft knock on the front door. Not urgent, not aggressive, just testing. The kind of knock someone uses when they already know you're home. "Sir?" a voice said, same lighter one, now putting on a friendly tone. "We just need a moment. Please open up." I didn't answer. He waited. Then he said something that made every muscle in my legs lock tight. "Your lights are different tonight." I stayed perfectly still. I hadn't turned anything on except the hallway lamp, and he couldn't see that from outside. He'd just said it to force a reaction, but the precision of it made my stomach twist. They'd watched me before, enough to know exactly how my house usually looked at midnight. The front porch creaked under his weight as he leaned closer. "Sir, we know you're awake." The heavier man shifted at the back door, his boot brushing the threshold. They weren't improvising anymore. They were closing in. I moved down the hallway toward the bedroom, staying low, keeping my feet on the carpet instead of the hardwood. The bedroom window faced the neighbor's yard, 15 feet from their fence, usually pointless, but right now, my only escape that didn't involve walking straight into those men. Before I reached the room, the back door handle turned, slow, testing the lock. My throat tightened. A whisper from outside. "He locked this one. Do it." Something thin slid between the door and the frame. Metal, deliberate. They had tools. They came prepared. I darted into the bedroom and pulled the window open an inch, praying it wouldn't squeal. Cold air seeped in. My heart was hammering loud enough that I was sure they could hear it through the walls. Then the front door knock changed. No more pretend politeness. 3 heavy hits. "Open it." I climbed onto the dresser, shoved the window higher, and pushed myself through into the dark yard. My feet hit the dirt silently. I crouched, listening. Back door, a hard click. Not broken, opened. They were inside. I hugged the fence and moved behind the neighbor's shed, keeping to the deepest shadows. From inside my house came measured footsteps, 2 sets, spreading out. One headed toward the kitchen, one toward the hall. The heavier voice muttered, "He left in a hurry. Check the closets." My stomach lurched. They hadn't seen me leave. They were assuming, guessing. And if they checked the bedroom window, they'd know exactly which direction I'd gone. I slipped through the gate into the next yard, then another. My block is old. Lots of gaps in fences, lines of sight, forgotten pathways between properties. I'd never thought about them until I used them to stay alive. When I reached the far end of the street, I finally pulled out my phone and called 911. I didn't look back. I didn't breathe until I heard sirens, fast, urgent, multiple. They never found the men. Not in my house, not in the yards, not on the road leading out. But the officers found what mattered. Boot prints in my kitchen, a pry mark on the back door, finger smudges on the bedroom window frame. And on the porch, wedged under the welcome mat, they found something the cops didn't show me until later. A slip of paper. My address, written neatly. And underneath it, in clean block letters, Thursday, 12:15 a.m., always alone. There's no continuation after this. I rent a small 1-bedroom in Columbus, Ohio. Nothing special. Thin walls, old carpet, a window that rattles when the wind hits it. I spend a lot of time online after work, usually browsing niche forums about old tech and abandoned websites. That's how I stumbled onto a thread that shouldn't have existed. It was on a forum I'd never heard of. The whole site looked ancient, with a login screen that still used tables and beige backgrounds. A Google result mentioned it once, in 2011, as a private image archive, but every link was dead except one buried inside a comment chain. Curiosity got the better of me. The thread title was just coordinates. My coordinates. Inside were photos, dozens, all time-stamped over the past 2 months. My hallway, my kitchen counter, my living room rug, the one with a burn mark from when I dropped a pan. They weren't taken from outside a window. They were taken from inside my apartment, from angles only someone standing in the room could have used. The first photo was my couch in late afternoon light. The second was my bathroom door cracked open exactly the way I leave it. The third was my bedroom while I wasn't home. I recognized the position of the comforter because I always toss it aside before work. Each post had comments, short ones. Too cluttered, adjust soon. Leave it as is, he won't notice. Camera 3 drifted again, correct it. I scrolled until my hands felt numb. Then I saw a picture from only an hour earlier. My dining table, my keys still on it, fresh from when I walked in after groceries. A comment under it said, "User is home, logging movement now." There was no way to explain it away. I stared at the walls around me, expecting to catch some obvious hole or lens, but everything looked the same as always. Quiet. Normal. Too normal. The forum updated again, a new reply blinking at the bottom of the thread. He found the page. The timestamp matched the exact minute I clicked into the thread. Then another message appeared, slowly, as if someone typed it on the other end in real time. Stay where you are. My apartment felt suddenly smaller, like someone else was sharing the air with me. I didn't hear footsteps, no doors, nothing. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the faint draft from the window. But I couldn't shake the feeling that the photos weren't the only thing being watched. The page refreshed by itself again. Don't check the bedroom. That was when I realized the bedroom door behind me wasn't fully closed anymore. It never opened on its own. I hadn't touched it. The bedroom door was open just enough for a sliver of darkness to spill into the hallway. I kept still, hoping I was imagining the change, but the draft across my ankles told me it had moved recently. My apartment isn't big. When a door shifts, you feel the air shift with it. My laptop chimed with another notification from the forum. Don't approach. He's watching the feed. I didn't want to look at the screen, but my eyes dragged back to it anyway. A new image had appeared. It was my apartment from above, an angle I didn't even understand at first. Too high to be from a shelf, too low to be from the ceiling light. It was like the camera was embedded in the plaster. In the image, I was standing exactly as I was, 1 foot slightly forward, shoulders tense, staring at the bedroom door. I hadn't heard a shutter. My laptop hadn't moved. Nothing had beeped or clicked. Yet the photo existed. A reply under it. He's finally reacting. Note posture. Another post came seconds later. Bedroom unit is active. Something shifted inside the room. Not a step, not a voice, just fabric, brushing faintly against something wooden. My heart slammed into my ribs so hard it hurt. Someone was in there. They had been close enough to take pictures for weeks, maybe months. I backed toward the front door, reaching for the deadbolt, but before I touched it, another picture uploaded. This one was a close-up of the door's lock from the outside hallway. The caption, "Exit blocked, return to center." My breathing went shallow. They weren't warning me, they were directing me. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. Against every instinct, I answered. A man's voice whispered, calm, almost conversational. "Don't hang up. You're making this harder." The connection crackled like he was standing in a wind tunnel. "You weren't supposed to see the thread yet," he said. "We weren't ready." I swallowed hard. "Who are you?" He ignored the question. "Go back to the living room, slowly, no sudden movements." I didn't move. I couldn't. He exhaled sharply, like a disappointed teacher. "Look up," he said. I hesitated, but my eyes lifted. There, in the corner where the wall met the ceiling, something tiny glinted. Not a smoke detector, not anything I'd ever installed. It was tucked into a seam of paint, no bigger than the head of a screw. The voice continued, quieter now. "We've been careful, very careful, but you're making this messy." My laptop screen refreshed again. A new line of text appeared. "Begin retrieval." A soft sound came from the bedroom, fabric again, but closer this time, moving toward the door. The sound in the bedroom became deliberate. No longer fabric, but pressure on the floorboards. Someone shifting weight slowly, carefully, as if trying not to disrupt a plan already in motion. I stepped backward toward the coffee table, keeping the phone against my ear. The man on the line wasn't speaking anymore, just breathing, steady, practiced, like he was listening for something in the room rather than addressing me. My laptop refreshed again. A new image loaded, the view from my bedroom doorway, facing outward. My own silhouette was visible in the hall, body tense, phone to my ear. The camera had to be only a few feet behind whoever, or whatever, was standing in that darkness. A comment appeared beneath it. Proximity confirmed. Then another. Proceed. My pulse hammered so loudly, I barely heard the bedroom hinge creak. The door opened wider, inch by inch, but nothing emerged. The voice on the phone finally spoke, so quietly I almost missed it. "Don't run. It reacts to running." I didn't ask what "it" meant. I didn't want to know. The bedroom light flicked on for a split second, bright enough to sting my eyes, then snapped off again. Someone had tested the switch, or signaled. The forum updated with a short line. Lights calibrated. That was enough to break whatever frozen obedience had kept me rooted. I lunged for the front door and twisted the deadbolt. It turned, thank God it turned, but as I yanked the door open, another sound echoed behind me. Fast, scraping steps across the wooden floor, rushing straight toward the hallway. I didn't look back. I bolted into the corridor and slammed the door behind me. Something collided with the other side hard enough to shake the frame, followed by a low, strained, dragging sound. Not human footsteps, something heavier, lower to the ground. I sprinted down the hallway so fast I nearly tripped over my own shoes. By the time I hit the stairwell, my phone was still in my hand, the call still active. The man's voice whispered one last thing. "You left earlier than expected." I hung up and ran. I didn't go back that night. I didn't go back the next day. When management let me in, with an officer present, the apartment looked almost identical, but not completely. My bedroom door had been fully removed from its hinges. The screws were lined up neatly on my pillow. My laptop was gone. My router was gone. There were faint scrape marks along the floor, leading from the bedroom to the front door. No cameras were found. Not a single device. Not one wire. But someone had left something on the living room table. A printed page from the forum, the same thread I'd stumbled into. Only one line was highlighted in yellow. Thread closed. Relocation complete. I moved out that same hour. I still don't know what was in the bedroom that night, and I don't check unexplained links anymore. The threads are over, but the questions they raised won't go away. You've been listening to LurmoStories, and the next time you see a throwaway confession, you'll think twice before laughing it off.